Hey guys, welcome to Texas Kaiju Fishing. So today we're going to cover knots and the two I use, and there's a third one I'm practicing on. And so the two knots I use are the Rapala knot and the Palomar knot. So the Palomar knot is the strongest knot I like to use. It hasn't slipped on me yet. Before that, I was using a cinch knot as a beginner. That's kind of like the easiest one you learn. And that one, it failed on me one time, and I was like, I need to learn a new knot. And so the polymer knot for top waters and anything you suspect will get like a good hit, like a big hit, or you have to take out of a lot of cover, such as jigs. And so top waters, I usually use buzz baits, frogs, and I have these wake baits. And so right now I'm going to tie on this trout colored wake bait to the rod I'm using. So at the moment on our lake here in Texas, we're about third week where it's 100 degrees, maybe 2 weeks. And so the water's really hot. Fish are lethargic. They're really not wanting to move out of place. So this is what I'm about to tie on. Really big profile. Give it a couple of twitches on top, and hopefully it'll get a fish to come up and eat it. With these summer fish, you can say they're lethargic, but when they commit to a bait and they hit it, it's a big hit. It's never just like a gentle pick it up and eat it. They come and really smash on it. And so for this one, I'm going to use a polymer knot. So first thing you do, you take your tag in, and you take it through the eye of your bait. So this one has a O-ring. And then you have your tag in. You get about that much. And then you bring it back through. And then you have a loop. So this one you'll do a super overhand knot. Keep that loop. Try not to cinch it down. So as you see here, I didn't get enough. And so I have to reset it and get enough line through where I can have a loop big enough to engulf this whole bait. And so that's like a downside to this knot. If you're using a leader, if you have a 12-inch leader and you're trying to tie on such a big bait, then maybe this knot's not for that use. Fluorocarbon and other leaders tend to be expensive types of line, and so it hurts people when they have to cut off this much just because they're tying a big knot. And so that's why I started practicing the San Diego jam knot, which it doesn't use as much line to tie a knot. And so you take the loop, engulf your bait, bring it out the other end, and then you either wet it with saliva or water. And so make sure both lines are through the loop. Make sure the loop clears even the clip. And so you just cinch it down nice and slow. Try to avoid line burn. The line I'm tying this on right now is copolymer. Yozuri copolymer line. 12-pound test. And so there you go. You cinch it down. And then you see that right there. Nice looking knot. It's cinched down. And this knot, it will hold up to anything you're trying to pull in. And so after that, you cut off the tag in. So the tag in, you can get it really close to the knot. This will not slip. Okay. So there you go. Polymer knot. Again, I use this for top water and anything I'm throwing into a big thick cover and I need to pull fish out. And so on the bank I fish, I have a lot of grass in one area where once you get them on the hook, they try to swim for the grass. So you gotta pull them through the grass and the weeds. Let me adjust my rod. So that's all set to go. Right. So that's a knot I like to use for top water. It's also a really easy knot. And if I'm in a hurry or if I need to get something tied on, I'll use a Palomar knot. The other one is the Rapala knot. So the Rapala knot, Rapala, not sure how you say it, but I use it for swim baits, for anything where you're gonna want a little more movement when you jerk it or let it sit, and I'll use it for crankbaits. That'll allow the bait to have a little more movement. So let me get some lines so I can demonstrate. So with the Rapala knot, take your tag in and you make a simple overhead knot, but you will not cinch it down. You will leave that loop. Okay? And so you take your tag in, you grab your lure, and then you're going to take it through the eye. Now that tag in is going to go through the loop you made to start your knot. You're going to bring it up. There you go. You have your open space. Your tag in's through it. And then you're going to do about 4 to 5 twists up top. And so the twists, the amount of times you go around your own line, it depends on the line thickness. The one I'm using right now, for example, is 25-pound test. And so with this one, you probably only have to go 3, maybe 4, or else it gets kind of messy. So I'm going to do 3. And then you take it back through the original loop. And then that loop you just made, you take the line back through that, and then you cinch it down. And then make sure you wet your line and cinch it down nice and slow to avoid line abrasion. So you'll have the knot come out through the middle like that. So and then you see here, you got it tied onto your lure, and then there's a loop, and then there's your knot. So this loop allows the lures to have a little more freedom to move. And so when I tie this, I usually do it on crankbaits, fluke style baits, jerk baits, anything you want them to have a little more action when you twitch your rods when you're retrieving them. And it has been a solid knot. I haven't had any major break-offs with this one. And so the Rapala knot is the one I use. And also my line cutter, my fancy line cutter, just get you a good pair of nail clippers, and that'll do the job. This one cuts through braid really well, so that way you don't have to go and break the bank getting you a fancy line cutter. So there you go. I'm gonna do that one more time, just so you can see how it looks. Yeah. So normally I don't. There you go. So you got your knot. Then clip the tag in. And so the key is to have that loop as small as possible, because the bigger, if you leave it too big, it might end up back here and catching on your hook. So it's just going to take practice. This knot takes a lot of practice to do it on the fly and when you're out fishing. Okay. Now the third knot I've been practicing with, so the San Diego jam knot. And so that one is if you have a leader and you don't want to use as much line to do it as you would with the Palomar knot, then you could try the San Diego jam knot. So you take the line through the eye of the hook, a little thinner line. So this is some 8-pound test. Fluorocarbon from Grand Slam, high seas. Let me go back to that thicker line. So you got your hook line through the eye, and then up here you're going to take that loop it around your finger, tag in, loop it around the finger, and then you're going to take the tag in and you go around both lines. So you'll go around about 4 to 5 times. And then there's a loop down here. Take your tag in through that loop. Once you get it through that loop by the eye of the hook, you come back up where you created a space with your finger. You take the line, tag in through that. And then from here, you wet your line. And so with this one, you don't want to cinch it down too hard, then you'll get it all tangled. So you're cinching and twisting at the same time. So this one I'm still practicing. So there you go. And then you'll be able to see if the knot's good or not. If it looks bad, then just retie. And then the other thing is, if you pull the tag in, it's sort of like a slip knot. But once you cinch it down with your main line, it's not going anywhere. There you go. So that's a San Diego jam knot. Again, like the Rapala knot, that's going to take a lot of practice for you to get efficient at it. Okay. Now the types of fishing lines I use, just to end the video, I use Yozuri, copolymer, their hybrid brand. And so this one is about, this spool is 100, how many yards it is? It's 600 yards, and this was about $14. You can get them at Academy. And then the other one I use, I have a lot of friends and family come over to fish, and I don't like to break the bank when I'm letting people come fish just for fun for a couple of days. And so I get the Walmart OmniFlex. And so I'll buy that just for when the company comes over and they want to just fish for a couple hours. Because when they get out on the water, there are a lot of snags, a lot of breakoffs, and they lose a lot of lures. And then I do fish braid. So I have this braid line from my father-in-law in Japan, and I believe this is a Yorzuri company dual. And so I'm trying this out. Prior to that, I was fishing spider wire, but it frayed too easy. And so far, this one is a little more abrasion resistant. All right, man. That's it. Those are the two fishing knots I use, the Palomar and the Rapala. And the fishing lines I use, I'll go from 8 to 12 pound tests. I usually don't go heavier to 12 pound tests. I don't fish in a lot of thick structures, so there's no reason for me to buy anything that's heavier than 12 pound. So far, I haven't had a line snap with the fish on the end, and so it hasn't forced me to get lines stronger than 12 pound. And so thank y'all so much. If you like what I'm doing, click subscribe and like the video. And next time I'll try to get some fishing in.